So many of the persons who we have shared this information with have been, what's the best word to use? They've been saddened. They have, you know, really questioned, what has really gone wrong. And today we're going to talk about it.
Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. If you had it back there and you're looking for a smile, bringing hope and joy for a day that was wild. Stuff from the cuffs is here to make things bright. In a world so dark, they're bringing some light. Stuff from the cuffs. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs. Go Bria, go Bill, go Bess, go Brian. Stuff from the cuffs, stuff from the cuffs.
Hey guys, so welcome back to our channel where we give you fun, inspiration, realness, and education. And that's the fire. So we're to talk about fire that is diminishing, fire that is on the way out, and in some cases, fire that is out. We've been married for 7 years. We are not experts. We've never yet tried to say that we are experts. We've never knocked persons who have not been married or people who aren't married or won't get married, because we believe in living your best life in whatever state you are. We are also disappointed and saddened by what we're here to talk about today, and that is divorce. So recently, we have been hearing a lot about it. We've been seeing it a lot. And there were several articles in the papers about divorce. Most recently was the high profile announcement of a separation of Bill and Melinda Gates. And it was on April 25, 2021 that, no, it was a statement on Twitter where they announced that they made the decision to end their marriage after a great deal of thought and a lot of work. Then on April 25, 2021, there was a story in the Jamaica Gleaner which said that since January 1, 2021,
Applications.
1,220 applications have been filed in court as it relates to divorce. And some of the experts in the article were calling it frightening. One was saying that COVID stressors may have worsened pre-existing issues.
Yeah.
They made mention of the fact that people can't go out for stress relief. They can't get time away from each other as much.
They're stuck together.
They're stuck together. There are less couples seminars and counseling and different events for couples. So there's a whole lot to unpackage, and we empathize with a lot of people who are going through different struggles. We've had our fair share of struggles. We understand, but we are fighting for marriages to succeed and to be successful. So let's look at some of the types of breakups that are out there. We don't have it all. We don't have all the stats. We don't have all the figures. We don't have all of the answers or all of the actual questions. Some of us, we do have questions as well.
Yeah.
But some of them, let's look at some of them. Monotony.
And I think monotony and boredom can be tied in together, because COVID has really pushed us in a place where you are always around each other. You spend much more time together, from working together, taking care of the kids together more, doing almost everything together because of the current pandemic and the situation that we find ourselves in. And because of that, it's easy to fall in a routine. Now, mind you, it was easy to fall in a routine before, but now even more so, the monotony and the boredom can really get to persons, especially if they were used to a certain kind of life before. Especially when it comes on to a social life. I know many couples who enjoy being together, but they also enjoy being apart. They enjoy going out and having drinks with their friends, alone time, going to football matches, going to here and there, go playing dominoes, the whole works, football. And all of that has really come to a standstill since the pandemic. For those who are really trying to stay safe, it has come to a standstill. And the truth is, the same way you enjoy it with your brethren them is completely different than how you enjoy it with your partner. Because Brian and I can sit down and play a video game, and I can guarantee you it will not be the same level of excitement compared to when he's playing it with TC, them, his cousins or his other friends, his friends from work, his past co-workers. It's completely different. And so I think the monotony and the boredom kind of sets in because you've really been displaced out of what you are used to. You've been displaced as it relates to how you want your life to be lived. And so I think not being used to being around the same person all day, every day, 24 hours a day, not being able to do the things you love, which may cause you to be a little bit unhappy. Maybe not a little bit, but very unhappy. And then now being quote unquote forced to not have a choice as to how you do things is easy to fall into boredom.
And then it's also the fact that you don't have 24 hours per day anymore as you used to.
That's true.
You get up at a certain time, you have to try and meet certain things before the curfew or the lockdown is beginning, and your days feel shortened. And it feels like a routine. You get up, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, back inside, locked up. You get up, you do this, you do that. And what is really there to do for fun, depending on what you like for fun, especially if you're an introvert or an extrovert, that is also a factor. And, it's really, really easy nowadays to fall into the trap of monotony.
Yeah.
And, just funny enough, recently, I went to the supermarket and I bought something different. And I came home and I was like, hey babe, I bought something different, as opposed to what we usually buy.
Yeah.
And it was so hilarious to us. But it's very important that you do your very best to not get into a monotonous cycle. Yeah?
The monotony really can happen in different areas of your life where intimacy is concerned, how you relate to each other, even down to what you cook. Because what Brian did was he bought something different that we haven't bought in a while. And the dinner was so exciting. Like, we were so excited about the dinner. Yeah. So, it's easy to fall into a routine. And by routine, I'm not talking the regular routine. Pre-COVID, routine was routine. And it could work with because, it got shifted up every now and then. But now things have really gotten very rigid as it relates to how you do things, when you can do things, and so it's easy to fall in a routine. So that's something that we have to be careful of.
All right, so next one is being together for parenting reasons. You are together for the kids, and the truth is when the kids come out of the way, they're old enough to leave, or they're gone to college, or they're gone overseas, or wherever, there seems to be nothing else for you together. You were together for the kids.
Yeah.
And there are people who break up because of that. There was no other function to the marriage than being parents.
And that's one of the reasons why we are very big on being wifey and husband first, and then being the best parents that we can be. Because truth be told, it's easy to get lost in, again, the monotony of just taking care of the kids, making sure they're fed, making sure they're clean, making sure they're safe.
And they take up a huge part of your life,
Listen.
Huge part. You have to be deliberate. What's the word you always use? You have to be...
deliberate.
You have to be deliberate in
ensuring
that there is a us and there is a us.
And that's something that we're big on, because at the end of the day, we truly believe that in order to be the best mom and dad, we first have to be the best wife and husband that we can be, so that we are able to mentally, emotionally, and physically prepare that environment and continuously give our children that environment that fosters happiness and growth. And so, yeah, it's parenting takes a lot. It does. Sometimes I wonder where the hours fly by in the day. I remember other night, Brian and I started watching a movie at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock simply because we haven't watched a movie in a long time, and we see a nice little movie and we say, all right, let's watch it. Even though we knew that at
tired.
6 o'clock or before, one of the girls are going to wake up and they're going to find themselves in our room or something of the sort.
And then school is in.
And then school right after, and then school and Bella. So Bria in school and Bella, plus us working, marking, the whole works. Is easy to get lost in this whole process. And so it's very important that even though children are in the picture, you make time for each other so that years down the line, when they leave, because they're gonna leave, there is still an us. There is still husband and wife. There is not me looking at him like, okay, so we don't have Bria and Bella to bathe. Them gone about them business. They gone to college. Okay, we don't have to go supermarket and worry about what we're going to buy for them. They're picky eaters, the whole works. What do we do now? Yeah, what do we do now? It's very important to preserve that relationship that you have with your spouse.
Yep.
Not only for years to come, but even for the now. Even for the now.
All right, so we realize this video is going to be a little too long, so we're going to break it in two. So this is the first of a two-part series. I'm going to look at the final one for now, which is decisions made. Now, it goes back to the broader issue of communication that we look at, but I wanted to single out decisions made.
All right, so the last one we're looking at is decisions made, and it's a broader part of a communication problem.
Sometimes we make decisions without conversing or communicating or having a real fleshed out conversation with our partners. And that's a big no-no.
The truth is, these decisions may have been made years ago, and it has festered over the years. Festered. Now it's a full-blown infection in your marriage. And now, given that we're in the pandemic, things are hard, people are losing their jobs, the stress is very high, the stressors are even more than before. These issues normally come to full light. They come to the forefront because now you are spending so much time together. You know, usually before you could have avoided the whole issue because you're so busy and caught up and apart for work, whatever. Now that you are actually spending so much time with your spouse, sometimes on top of other issues or triggered by other things happening in the marriage or in the home, these things can come back to light full force.
And one of the reasons it comes back to light is, let me go biblical. I'm not preaching to nobody. I'm not trying to shove anything down anybody's throat. But 1 Corinthians 13 talks about love being patient, kind, not easily angered, keeping no record of wrongs. As humans, we often keep records of wrongs and we file them and we bring them up at later points in time, as opposed to moving on and understanding even the decision made can be rough for the person who made it, but they had to make it. And sometimes, yes, they could have dealt with it better. But when we hold it against them and it eats away at us, then it eats away at the relationship. And when push comes to shove, you can't get over it.
Yeah, it's true. And that's something that we have actively been trying to ensure that we don't do as a couple.
Guys, my sinus are bothering me here, so if you see me a fan and
his sinus bothering him. That's something that we have tried to not do as a couple. Even as it relates to just the small things. You know, the other day I left the window open, and it's something that Brian don't like when I do. He warns me against it. I mustn't do it. I'll open it up in the day to air out the house, that kind of thing, and then I forget to close it. And I found it so funny that he came in the room, he saw it open, and he said to me, "I'm not keeping any record of wrong, but remember that you have to keep the window closed." And I appreciated it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because if he had approached me a little different, like,
you must have a lock window then.
or how much time must tell you that, I would have been offended, and I probably would have been very defensive. Yes, he has told me time and time again, but I just don't believe that you need to approach me a certain way. And so when he approached me to say, I'm not keeping any record of wrong, babe, but remember you need to close the window. I appreciated it because I see the effort on his part. You see the effort on my part? Babe.
All right, the next one.
Babe.
Yes, babe.
Oh,
I'm
sure.
It's a work in progress. It's a daily work in progress for us.
It is. And it's hard, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard. So don't bother think that it's easy to not keep the record of wrong, especially when it happens over and over. Even for some simple things, we have to try to get to that place where we don't do it.
So that's it for part 1 of our 2-part series, calling it quits. See you in the next video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and share your views in the comments. We look forward to hearing what you say are your comments. And of course, we won't leave without talking about how help can be found, and we have some suggestions in the next video. All right?
All right, guys. Bye.